Yeah, that sucks because when does Red Dead come out again?
26th.
Yeah,
maybe?
That's right. Yeah.
It's gonna be in like the heat of the campaign, so I'm gonna be really busy. Unfortunately, I might not even play it until I move to Denver.
Yeah, that for me personally, it sucks because SoCal comes next a week from today.
No,
So
really. Wow.
I
Hey, you're gonna be real busy.
yeah, I gotta get in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, Red
Get
Dead.
good at that, and
Yeah.
little always as long as you just stay away from like spoilers and stuff, which shouldn't be that hard.
No,
You'll be fine.
No, I mean I think the credit to that game is like, I mean story's fine and everything, but that's not the main. That's not the main point why you play it.
Like while you're.
It's not the main point.
Yeah,
you don't play for the story. You play because you're in a cool Western world.
And your story is different.
Yeah, yeah.
Apparently, this one there's a lot more like branching, like dialogue-y type stuff.
Which I'm glad because I didn't really like John Marston that much.
I didn't mind him, but I just don't like the games where it's like such a clear duality. Like in Red Dead 1, it was like save the guy or like shoot him and take his money. Like there's no like middle ground, so it's like either be an awful person or a great person. I like the morality, like the greatness.
Probably why I didn't like Marston that much. I don't know. He's like, I think the reason why I didn't like him is he was so stereotypically I'm a cowboy. I don't really know too much about Arthur, the main guy. But I don't know, just like give me someone that
it's definitely something like he's less good of a guy because he's like he's like number 2 in Dutch's gang.
Yeah, in the gang. Yeah. So I just
interesting.
Yeah, Marston. I just thought he was just a dry character, just super dry. Like
I can see that.
Like, granted, Red Dead had like crazy people. It was like
some great
crazy people, but he didn't. But John Marston was just like, okay, this is happening to me.
Yeah,
he didn't really like.
He was really.
He didn't see very much emotion from him.
Yeah, he was really singular of purpose. He just like wanted to get back to his wife and kid. I thought the story of Red Dead is super cool, like how it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can see why he's not the most dynamic of characters, but
I did think it was. Here's a weird thing, like. It was kind of cool that, spoilers, after he died, he plays his son. That's pretty cool.
It made sense, because like usually at the end of an open world game, they're like, hey, now you can just go,
just do whatever.
Over, you can do whatever, but he's dead, but it lets you just go do whatever with Jack.
Yeah, which I was okay with that, but just, you don't see any other scenes like just with Jack, because at least I don't think.
Oh, you do.
Oh, do you?
If do you know about the like real ending to Red Dead?
Maybe I don't.
Dude, okay, so you're Jack, and if you like go around and you read the newspapers, it shows like the main like FBI dude, the main bad guy with the blonde hair and the little bowling hat. He's like you play the game for a while and you like see different newspapers and it's like, oh, he's retiring from the FBI or whatever the hell, and then you like quest starts and you like talk to like people that like work with him and you go and like find him.
Oh, really?
And you duel him at the end.
Really?
And he's like, this is for my dad or whatever, and you kill him.
I didn't know that.
And Red Dead Redemption flashes up, and that's the end of the game.
What?
Yeah.
Huh.
Let's look it up on YouTube. It's dope. And you can like kill his wife. Like you can go like go like crazy like.
Okay, that changed a lot from my perception of the game.
You can go like crazy bad. Like first, I think you talk to like a guy who used to work with him, and I mean, if you want to, you can like just fucking destroy like all these people that fucked over your dad, or you can like just go and if you like want to be like good or whatever, you just go and you kill the head guy Ross, I think his name is. But but then you meet his brother at one point, and you can like fucking kill him if you want.
Wow.
Like, so I did it. I played the first as John, like completely good. And then I was Jack. It's like, oh, I'm gonna be an asshole. So I just like murdered everybody. His wife, I like tied her to like a horse and like ran her across the train tracks. I'm like going crazy revenge on these bastards, but yeah, it's fucking cool.
I guess I stopped because I guess I just didn't.
No, game's done. No one like.
Wow.
It doesn't pop up. You have to like find it. Yeah.
I wonder if Hannah knows that because she plays that game still today.
Yeah, dude. It's amazing.
I should ask her about that next time I talk to her.
Look it up on YouTube. It's really cool.
Damn. That's insane.
And like you go up there, he's like retired and he's like hunting in this like ducks like in this river, and you like walk up to him and he's like, my name's Jack Marston. He's like yeah, fucking, he's like, I figured you would come around at some point. He's like, come on kid, let's just do this and get it over with. And it's like you know the dueling mechanic in the game.
Yeah.
It's really hard. Like, and his is like insane. Like you have to be like perfect. It's really difficult, but if you do it, then you shoot him. And it's just like he like puts it away. He like takes it. I think he just like shoots him like, but then just turns around and it's just boom, Red Dead Redemption. I'm like, fuck
yeah, like with the whole dead shot thing or whatever that mechanic, it is a little bit overpowered. So like it's cool because it works with the game, but I don't know. I'm hoping that they
A little more realistic.
not even that, just like make it more like at least give a reason why, like if like I'm not sure if John Marston was ever heralded as like a crazy ass gunslinger. I think he was just like I'm a cowboy, but like if Arthur was just like he's second command because he's the best gun in the world, like that makes sense. That makes a little bit more sense. But yeah, I don't know, like playing as John, just like just like I'm surrounded by 10 guys on a horse that are shooting me. Okay, they're dead.
The Deadeye's a little OP.
Yeah.
The dueling mechanic I really like though. You have to draw at the right time, and you can shoot their gun out of their hand for like to be like honorable, or just fucking blast them in the head. Gotta go for the dick. Always go for the dick. Yeah, that's the memo. That's how we're gonna start the podcast. You saying always go for the dick.
Always go for the dick.
There we go.
Nick McHugh, 2018.
Always go for the dick. That's our new motto for the pod. Well, with that said, welcome back, guys, to the Flick Your Bick Podcast Network here with Ben and Nick. We are coming back at you today. We have a really interesting topic today. We're going to do a little bit of it's going to be learning time with Ben. Nick's going to teach me about something I don't know much about that he's an expert in, which is what you always want. You want to learn about things you don't know about from experts. So
I wouldn't say expert, but I'd say someone that has been on both sides. That's the best way how I can like describe it. Like someone that is been molded by it. I
molded.
Grew up in it.
You didn't see the light of non-anime until you were a man.
Basically, just like I've been part of two different large outlier communities of people that don't know what it is, people that do know what it is, grew up with it, and I feel like I'm a good bridge between.
So we're talking about anime. I should have said that earlier.
Anime.
You knew what we were talking about. Yeah, I know very little about it, and Nick knows quite a bit, so it's gonna be really interesting. But it's always been something that I have friends with. People are like, "Oh, it's amazing! You got to try it," and I just like never really have. So I'll be really curious to see how it goes. But first, we have to talk about what we're flicking our bits to. Nick, you can start. What have you been flicking it to recently?
So when I was driving to work this morning, for some reason, you ever get those moments where you're just like, God, I want to listen to that song for whatever reason.
They'll come get you.
Yeah, just randomly. I'll listen to It Sucks to Be Me, Avenue Q. Great song, but like
it's that type of soundtrack, man.
Yeah, turn that on. That show was fantastic. But I was listening to that and like I know like pretty much all the words. So that's like I'm not very good with lyrics for music, but that show is particular. I know like all the words for all the songs. That's awesome. I wanted to listen to It Sucks to Be Me for whatever reason, and one of the very earliest lines or lyrics of the song is me. I'll point or jump in a little bit. Me too. Look at me. I'm 10 years out of college, and I always thought, what's the matter? I always thought I would be. Wow. Now I'm put on the spot. I don't remember that shit.
Son of a bitch.
But just like, yeah, he's 32, turning 33, 10 years out of college. That's not too far.
Nope. Yep. That's coming right around the corner, man. Yeah, believe me, I'm aware of that. Yeah, that is
like
scary to think about, dude. Yeah, scary to think about.
We're still pretty young, but damn, that's like that's that's not very long, and like that I had like a weird like realization, like it hit me in the face, like shit, that's gonna come up pretty soon.
That's crazy. Someone asked, was like, "Oh, what do you want for your birthday?" I was like, "Oh, yeah, my birthday's coming up." Like it's funny how you like don't even really give a shit about your birthday once you reach a certain amount of time. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm gonna be 25.
Yeah,
like that sounds so old.
Yeah, I remember last Christmas I asked for socks, like straight up, like I need socks. Like, could you just give me socks?
I got a bunch of underwear for Christmas, and I was ecstatic.
Yeah.
I got to get rid of some of my old shit. That's when you upgrade the underwear drawer. Like that's you feel like a king.
Yeah,
there's always that some of like the shitty underwear you only wear when you're out of everything else. Then when you get rid of it and it's all good stuff, man, like that's
a new pair of nice boxer briefs, just like cradling your family jewels. That's pretty nice.
Cradling like a sweet little baby. Yeah, that's big time.
Pretty
Not
nice.
much better than that, man. That's for sure.
But yeah, just like I always thought, like when I was younger. I always thought for some reason 24 is the age where you're an actual adult. Like 18, you're legally adult.
Right.
I don't know why. Just 24.
It's an arbitrary number that you thought of?
I guess so, but like 24, I always thought like, oh, you should be married, you should have a career, you should have like kids on the way.
striking out on all 3 of those, baby.
Oh yeah, I'll drink.
And I'm happy about it.
I'll drink. Yeah, I'm happy
sir.
about that. But yeah, I don't know why I have it in my head. It's like 24
That's
is
funny.
when you should have your life together.
Yeah.
That's certainly not the case.
I'm never gonna have my life together. I'm okay with that. What's the fun in that anyway? That's hilarious.
So kind of been flicking my big to
mortality.
That's a great word for that. Avenue Q and mortality, which actually go kind of hand in hand together if you think about it. But yeah, like, so that's kind of weird. Like, I've been really enjoying my mortality. If you think about
becoming aware of it,
yeah, I guess so.
Which is okay as long as it's not like a terrifying thing where it scares you, and it's more of like a hey, you know,
it does
like,
scare me, but it's more like, oh, I guess I got some interesting things to look forward to.
Yeah, you can think of it as like, oh my god, like I'm already 25, that's like a quarter of my life already gone, what have I done? Or it's gonna be like, oh wow, like I feel like I've lived so much and I'm only 25, like imagine like what else is what else is out there, you know? Like,
same time, like
all those stuff that's coming.
Same time, like, wow, I'm running out of time. Like,
no, I get that too, believe me. As someone actually no, that's actually gonna be a good transition into my to what I'm flicking it to. Again, a couple pods ago, I did an anti-flick, and this is kind of the same thing. We're gonna go slightly negative. So I'm on the job hunt right now, and as anyone knows, when you're on the job hunt here in 2018, you become very familiar with the these websites, the Monster, Indeed, Glassdoor.
That's where I got my job.
Indeed, I've gotten like all my jobs on Indeed, so I'm like kind of loyal there, but. I've been on them a bunch and applying to doing a whole bunch of stuff. So when you're on there, you start to realize things. Like for a while there, I was like applying for stuff and like putting like keywords that like fit my, career path stuff that would like relate to what I want to do, and it would come up with like stuff that like actually fit. But then there would always be a bunch of other like random stuff in there that was just kind of like how did they get like scientist or like a chemistry thing from like I type in like environmental nonprofit and I'm like where's like or like construction or something, like this has nothing to do with what I searched. Like I was like, oh, maybe just the algorithm sucks or something. So that kept happening on Indeed, and I was like, well, I keep getting all this weird shit that doesn't even like fit what I want. I'm gonna try a different site, and the same thing would happen there. And I was like, do these algorithms just like suck or what is going on? But then I looked a little further into it. Companies pay for their jobs to show up on like, just like any search. So that just hit me like a ton of bricks. It's like I'm trying to find a job and these companies are like paying to like get their job in front of me, regardless if it actually fits my qualifications whatsoever. I'm like, how much freaking time have I been wasting like going through all these things and finding like why do all these keep coming up? There must be like later on there must be the jobs that like actually fit me. But no, they're like being sponsored and like put there because they paid for it. I'm like, this is I don't know, it just like made me think like, God, capitalism is really the worst.
Damn you, capitalism
is just the worst.
Corporate business.
I'm trying to find a job and it's like corrupting it. It's just that was a really like dark realization this last weekend.
I mean, not to like throw shit your way, but you also have a degree that is not. I shouldn't say bad, but it's definitely not.
There's not like a 1-to-1.
Yeah, there's not one that's like I'm specifically looking for.
Yeah, that's true. That's a lot of it. I'm sure is like if you had like an engineering degree, like you type in engineering, then I'm sure it would be mainly
Garrett
stuff.
Garrett's solid,
or even Emma who's like business, like accounting, finance stuff.
Yeah,
like,
everyone can use that.
Yeah, mine is quite specific, and there's not a lot of. That's a good point. That's probably some of it, but. Yeah, just the futility and frustration of a serious job search, especially your first one like out of college doing like looking for like, a real serious career is stressful, frustrating, and So if anyone else is going through that, I know your pain. It's not fun. We can get through it.
Imagine if you went to college or wanted to pursue something in entertainment or the arts.
Oh, dude,
like how much harder that is.
I know. Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah,
I can totally imagine. Yeah, it's
like my degree is sound engineering, which I don't really want to do anything with that like hard, but like that's like when I go to like an interview for a job, like that's a good segue to talk about it. But how is this gonna help Target? You know,
it's just hard to find the right stuff, and maybe I'm just looking the wrong way, and maybe there isn't that many jobs that like fit what I like my work experience because I've kind of had an interesting. Work experience. So maybe they're just not out there. So they're just like, oh, there's nothing here. Let's just throw this shit up here. But also I feel like, just when I realized that the whole like system that these
Yeah.
things work on. I was like, God, this sucks. I was so mad.
As long as you got that, what, like $25,000 piece of paper, people
Yeah,
look at you
right.
differently.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that's crazy. So yeah, job search, not fun.
No, no one like. I hate it.
That's what I was sitting here thinking about what my flicking was going to be, and I was like, well, what have I done this week? Not much besides look for jobs. So I was like, well, I guess that's what it's going to be.
I was telling you
Which
earlier.
is depressing.
Yeah, I was telling you earlier. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't mind the interview process. It's just like the paperwork.
Yeah.
I fucking hate the paperwork.
If I can get in front of someone, I do really well in interviews.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd say be charming and everything, but it's just getting there and finding something that even I've like applied to quite a few things, but half the time I'm just looking. I'll look for like 2 hours and I'll find like 1 or 2 jobs that I'm even like I'll even bother applying to because they even like remotely fit what I'm doing.
Right.
And that's very frustrating. Anyway, on to more positive things. Like I said before,
positive things.
We are gonna
funny.
Anime positive, right? Always happy, right? I don't know. So we're gonna be talking about anime. So I am an absolute noob. So I'll tell you my experience with anime. Basically, it's Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z.
That's fair.
That's about it. And I know some people don't even classify those as hard on. Are they animes? I know some people get like, or they just get pissed about that because they're popular and they're like, "Oh, you're not a real anime."
Maybe,
fan
but
if you
no.
Those are animes.
Whoever's saying like those are
just douchebags.
They are.
Okay.
They're just dumb.
Okay. I'm trying to think. Is that the? I'm trying to think all I've watched.
You may have seen some
what
other
else was
stuff.
on? Sailor Moon was on Cartoon Network back in the day.
That's a huge one. Yeah, yeah.
That was big.
Great show.
Avatar: Last Airbender.
See, that's an interesting one.
Is that a cartoon or is that?
There's a huge debate on whether it's an anime or because it's written by Americans, but it was like animated and drawn in technically Korea.
Okay, interesting.
Which like, so there's like a huge debate of if it's anime or if it's not. Yeah, that you opened a huge can of worms like right on the
That's
bat.
good. That was my first question. Is what is anime like defined as? Like, what is there? Clearly, I guess there's not a set definition.
If you're asking me, technically it'd be like made in Japan.
Yeah.
Or I should say more specifically, made in Asia, because there are some Chinese animations. I mean, because anime is short for animations. There are some like Korean anime and Chinese anime, which they're very anime, just straight up.
Right.
But yeah, like with the whole Avatar conundrum. Since it is in the style of a anime. God, you're playing a drinking game today. Drink to how many times we say the word anime, you're gonna be plastered. But yeah, that's. If you're asking me, I'd say. If you're asking me, it depends on the day. In all honesty,
Okay.
That's again, you open a huge.
So you could say it's where it's from, to be technical, but also it's just you can have something in an anime style. That is American or whatever. So question, what are like the defining characteristics of the anime style? I know it's the way it's drawn, storylines, story beats, like what are like if it has blah blah blah, it's an anime.
To be completely honest with you, there really isn't. It's mostly like kind of is it from Asia, which is kind of a weird thing to say, but I mean they have there's some Japanese anime that is drawn like 1940s American cartoon, but it's considered anime.
But it's anime. Okay. Interesting. So to me, I just think of that particular like stereotypical anime art style, and I'm like, oh, this is an anime because of the way it's drawn. It has that aesthetic to it.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. No, there's like several animes out there that do not look.
They look like some sort of like American cartoon.
Yeah.
Like like Batman the animated series or something like that. Okay.
Straight up.
That's really cool. So I'm gonna ask about your history with the genre. What like got you into it? Some of your favorites, that sort of thing. Okay,
sure. I first started watching. Well, not sure if did you watch Adult Swim very much when you were
not really.
I was a big purveyor of Adult Swim. The main reason why I watched Adult Swim is because I was hanging around friends that said, "Oh, Family Guy's so funny." Back when Family Guy was new, and like at the time I was still young, and my parents were pretty conservative. They were like, "You can't watch Family Guy." Like I couldn't even watch Simpsons.
Yeah, I was the same way.
Yeah, so like watching Adult Swim was like, "Oh, this is cool." I'm
a bad kid.
I'm a bad boy.
Yeah, boy.
So like I would always stay up to watch Adult Swim late at night when my parents were not awake. So every Saturday nights on Adult Swim, to this day still, they have an entire evening block where it's just Japanese
Oh,
animation.
cool.
And one time, I love this moment. I had a birthday party at my house, and we were all playing outside. For some reason, I got like nauseous or sick, so I went back inside. It was on a Saturday night, and I'm like, all my friends were playing outside, but I felt sick, so I stayed inside and I turned on the TV, and I saw an anime which at that time I'd seen a couple, but it was just kind of weird. But I was in such a weird space where, like, it's kind of weird to say, but I was watching a show called Inuyasha, which I consider that my first anime, and I'd seen like other episodes. A lot of times anime is like very episodic, like, as an
Right.
overarching story. But this time, like for some reason, they had a night where it's just like all like concurrent episodes of Inuyasha. So I just like being nauseous and just kind of just wanted to feel better. I just sat there in front of the TV and just watched like 4 hours of it, and like I got into it, and then
Nice.
from there, like I started researching more, and eventually I bought all the box sets of that show, which at that time an entire season cost $150.
Oh, yeah, man.
There was
TV
so
boxes are nuts.
yeah,
That
it
shit
was
is
so
so
expensive
crazy.
back in the day.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of what that's kind of like my anime origins.
Nice. Your origin story.
My origin story.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
cool.
pretty ridiculous.
That's awesome. So what are some of your like favorite stuff that
Oh boy,
You- keep going back to?
I'm I'm kind of a hipster a little bit,
Okay.
which is weird because I like a lot of like '90s anime,
Okay.
which I didn't watch it at the time.
Right,
But I
right.
went back and watched it.
Nice. Nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, like there's one show that it's called Gurren Lagann. It's a mech show, which means like giant robots fighting and stuff like
Transformers type
that.
shit, yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. That show had such an impact on my life when I first saw it. It it's gonna sound really dumb, but it changed me. Like I'm not even shitting you.
How?
Like the way the story and like the philosophy of the story played out at the end, it just made me think about things differently.
Interesting.
It just changed my whole perspective
And
on
like a
life.
like East versus West philosophy type of thing, or it was just like a really crazy storyline of the likes you had never seen before.
I'd say along the lines of that. That's the story of Gurren Lagann. This podcast is going to be like me saying the word anime and me explaining a show in as little as possible.
It works. Works for me,
That
man.
show is very positive. I'll say
Okay.
they have a thing just like just without getting too much into it. The characters are faced with so much adversity where it's just like, how could they possibly get over this mountain? How could they possibly defeat this villain? And with just what they call fighting spirit, just like the will
Just
to
will.
believe, just the will. They like it's not even like Dragon Ball Z where
Yeah.
they're just like shouting and powering up. Like it's not really a spoiler because the first episode is like the last episode.
Okay.
It's like a teaser for the very last episode. Like it's a mecha show, so like they get like more parts and like robot parts get added onto their robot.
Dope.
In like the final fight, they get so big, their robot gets so big that the final fight against the main characters and the villain, they're so goddamn big that they're like grabbing galaxies and just chucking them at people.
That sounds very anime. I like it.
It's super anime, but oh my fucking god, you watch it and like, yeah, again, that it just changed my perspective of how I just see life, view people, just everything. It's
That's
incredible.
Awesome. That's really cool.
So that's a huge one. Another big one I like is Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah, I've heard of that one.
That's a great one. Oddly enough, just TV and shows and movies in general, I generally don't rewatch too much stuff.
Yeah, I'm saying I'm not a big rewatch.
I don't
guy.
know why.
Yeah. There's too much other stuff out there.
Same,
you know?
yeah, same thing with like owning DVDs. I found like I don't buy DVDs
No,
because
I
like
never do anymore. Used to. Don't
yeah, I
anymore.
used to. I used to collect that shit. I mean, but now I'm like,
There's
they're
so much
su-
shit I haven't even watched on Netflix
so much
or
shit,
Hulu.
and they're
or
just
anything.
expensive.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
like you gotta get the premium.
Yeah.
You gotta make it look as good as
No,
possible.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't usually rewatch stuff, but Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood I've watched like 5 times in a row.
Really?
And it's like still a show where I'd be like Gurren Lagann. I'm thinking back, like, yeah, I would watch that because it's amazing. But Full Metal, I'm like, oh fuck, I would love to rewatch
Just
that.
watch it right now. Like, let's go. Yeah, yeah. That's
Mhm.
the best. That's when you know something's good. It's like, oh, I'd totally rewatch that right now. Or it's like you want to. I've had a couple things like that where you want to show it to somebody. It's like, I'll totally. But you've already watched it. I go, I'll totally watch it with you right now. Like, let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to
Exactly.
like watch you watch it. Like, yeah, that's the best.
Yeah. So going back to like hipster thing, just real quickly, like a lot of the newer stuff that's coming out, like it's okay, but I don't know, just like I'm just big into like more of the classic stuff, like the
Gotcha.
things that were like maybe I guess you could call it genre defined, but thing that like solidified like the entire otaku movement.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now define what that is for me, otaku.
Okay, so otaku is slang in Japanese for nerd or geek.
Okay.
So quick thing to know, not everyone in Japan
Likes anime?
is super into anime. That's like
Believe it or not, yeah.
yeah, believe it or not, like I think I read that it's about the same in Japan as in American, like the community.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's like a lot of shit comes from there, and it's like the birthplace of all that. But
That doesn't necessarily mean.
yeah, it
everyone,
doesn't necessarily mean
Well, yeah, that
like,
makes sense. Like think about like American exports.
or just
Doesn't
like
necessarily mean everybody.
or
likes
American
that.
sports.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes sense. Interesting.
So yeah, like if you go find a Japanese person, don't ask him about anime because he may or may not just
Dude,
like
Fullmetal Alchemist is like, what the fuck?
yeah, yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. So yeah, like otaku slang for Japanese is like nerd or geek, which makes sense.
Okay.
And I would say like just otaku is kind of like more of a lifestyle and culture. It generally just means like you're a fan of just like things that come out of Japan. Doesn't have to be
Gotcha.
anime. It could be like
Bubble tea.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Could be like video games, comic books, manga, stuff like
Gotcha.
that. So that's just like an entire otaku. That's generally like the otaku culture, just being a fan of just
Interesting.
things that come out of Japan.
All right. Cool. Okay. Okay. And you would consider yourself part of that?
Um, to a degree,
Yeah.
yeah. Like this goes back to like the bridge of like being in between. Like I would say like we're gonna learn some vocabulary here today,
Good,
folks.
I've got a
We'll
bunch
learn-
of. I've got a bunch pulled up that I want.
So
to
Ben, let me ask you: do
Yeah.
you know what a weeb is?
I just always thought it was like a sissy, like a weakling. As like what I always thought. I've heard it like being said on like Reddit and stuff. Never totally understood what it meant. I thought it was a funny word. Yeah, I thought like sissy or weakling was like what I.
It's short for weeaboo, which I kind of forget what the originally the entire thing, but mainly it amounts to like like think of it like an annoying otaku or an annoying geek. Like
I found it. Okay.
Oh, perfect,
Weeaboo,
perfect.
referring to someone who's completely obsessed with Japan and Japanese alike. Unlike otaku, this is usually a derogatory term used for someone who just overall wants to be Japanese, even though they are not.
These
That's funny.
These are the weird people you'd find like.
So these are the kids that like have the backpacks and like Naruto run around the school.
Yeah, these are like people that run like
gotcha.
Naruto. These are
Gotcha.
people that will like carry around like practice swords for no fucking
So this is like
reason.
next level.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. Which
gotcha.
I will say, I probably was a wee before the term existed.
Okay.
That like definitely when I started watching anime after I watched Inuyasha the first time, like I was way into the culture. Which there's a YouTuber that I watch, and he does like he did a discussion about weeb and just the culture of that. And I agree with the statement that I said. Basically, it's okay to be like super into Japanese culture, you know, like, but there's a difference between like a weeb where it's just like they're like speaking Japanese and English, like ending every sentence like desu and stuff like that. Like that's super cringy, and I don't cringe, but that's super
And, like,
cringy.
Racially insensitive.
Yeah,
to
like
a
that.
degree.
And then there are people that are like interested in like the history, the culture of just Japan, just outside
Well, it's just
of
a hobby and just being interested in it.
just outside like outside of like anime and video games, which
It's like the culture of the country and like
Yeah.
history and everything.
which
I love
in my
history,
defense, I was a weeb, but I would say I was one of the better ones because I actually learned. I took like 3 years of language just because I thought it was cool.
That's awesome.
Like I know a little bit about just Japanese history, just because I think the culture is really interesting and stuff like that. So that's my defense on just being called a weeb at the time before it existed. But yeah,
Not so much now.
you know, I'd say no, because like most of like otaku and weeb culture mainly comes out of like the main overarching thing is anime,
Right.
which I'd say one, I just don't have the time to watch it nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
I still have like strong opinions on stuff, and there's like a couple good shows that I will like still watch. But I'd say like otaku culture has just like so many myriads of just different like fan bases and
I'm sure.
communities. I'd probably say like the overarching one is anime, like I said before, but I wouldn't say like I'm hard into that culture anymore just
Mhm.
because I kind of grew up and
Right.
I just did other
That was
stuff.
my next question. Is at least to me, it seemed like anime and all that is a younger man's game. You know, it's like high schooly, middle schooly. Is that am I stereotyping or is that
You're not
accurate?
you're not too
Mhm.
far. A lot of the I guess you it's we're gonna learn what shonen is.
Okay.
So shonen is
Nice.
comes from a magazine. It's called Shonen Jump,
Okay.
which it's technically like a company, but shonen in terms of anime, it's like their specific brand of like shows that they come out, and it can also apply to shows that are not necessarily under that umbrella of a company. That
Okay.
just means like kind of very popular stereotypical storyline, which for those stereotypical storylines that get put out in the front of the public, they're geared towards high school, middle school teenagers.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
I just found it,
that's
yeah.
generally so like that's a huge stereotype about that.
But that's not necessarily.
Oh, absolutely not.
That's just
There's-
what most people think of because it's the most popular. Would you
yes,
say?
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Because I'm reading this, that does make sense. So it's a Japanese word meaning boy, which is also a style of anime and manga that aim towards a young male audience, usually between the age of 8 and 18. This is the most popular fighting and adventure genre with big franchises like Naruto, One Piece, and Dragon Ball Z. Yeah,
those
so it's
are-
like what most people
Gravitate
commonly
to.
know.
Yeah,
what it
yeah,
is.
yeah.
Like someone who's not an
I
anime
mean-
person, like I've heard of all of those. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, like
Mm.
think of like nowadays Dragon Ball. Like everyone knows what Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Like there was at one point where people did not know what Dragon Ball is, and Pokemon. Like everyone knows what Pokemon
Yeah.
is. Now it's amazing because like Dragon Ball has bridged the gap between like being a niche thing. Like everybody knows what Dragon
There's
Ball.
a bunch
is.
of like I was gonna show you some of these videos. There's a bunch of like NBA players, like young NBA who are like kind of our age, a little bit older, who like love it and like they like
Yeah.
have it on their, like GBZ inspired like sneakers, and they have
Yeah.
like DBZ like celebrations when they score and shit. I'm like, man, it's crazy how this all comes around, huh?
I think mostly it's like, which maybe ties to why I'm somewhat of a hipster, is that now the internet exists, so now this is more readily available for just the public to
Right,
get into.
right.
Like I said before, those Inuyasha seasons, they're like $150, and like they're in like a corner of a Best Buy where
Right,
nobody went.
right.
And then now you go to Best Buy and there's just like an entire section
yeah.
of just anime. Just
Well,
it's,
Netflix has anime.
yeah, Netflix
Crunchyroll's an
animes.
entirely separate thing. Yeah.
Yep.
That's
yep.
cool. That's really crazy. What other questions I have? I have some other terms I want.
Oh,
I've
sure.
heard senpai been thrown around a lot. So
Sorry, I don't know why
I
I'm
never
so
understood.
upset.
So to me, I'm going to say what I think it means, and you're going to correct me. This is going to be the game we play.
Okay.
So senpai people, like, it's on. I get a lot of my shit from Reddit and Twitter and stuff.
Yeah.
I think I've said, but they're like, "Oh, senpai, notice me." So it's like an icon, like a hero. Sometimes they're usually very attractive.
You,
Am I?
I just want to butt in here.
Yeah.
I'm so happy we're talking about this because growing up with our age group,
Yeah.
I have nobody to talk about this.
Yeah.
It's so, like I have older friends that are into this, but getting to talk to you specifically about this is
It's a mind trip. Yeah.
Yeah. So senpai
great.
means teacher in Japanese.
Okay.
And the notice me senpai thing, it's essentially a meme where it's
Yeah.
like just like it's pretty much me fetishizing a teacher, or now in meme terms just a person.
Okay.
So like
Is it in a sexual way?
most likely most of the time, yes.
Okay.
Very
That's the vibe I was getting and want to make sure I was picking that up. Okay, good.
Yeah.
So like older teacher person. Okay, got it. Okay.
It's evolved into that, so now it's just like
Okay.
anybody.
Okay, gotcha. Kawaii. I've seen that
That
in
means
places.
in Japanese it means cute.
Okay.
So again, it's not really a meme now, but it just means like
In a like like a puppy way or cute like
In
I
a
want
in a
like I
pup
want to hit that way?
No,
Okay.
in a cute way, like,
Okay.
"Oh, that puppy's so kawaii." Like,
Gotcha.
that is going to like, saying that made me feel gross because
Okay.
that's, like, the weebs say, which
It's
I don't
very
like.
next level.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't
okay.
like to diss on the weebs,
Mhm.
but they kinda
I
have it
kind of
coming
want
to
to.
them. Yeah.
It's the funniest term.
"Oh, you fucking
Calling someone a
weebs."
weeb. It's hilarious.
It is, it's really
Let me
funny
use
to
that in
me.
like context that makes no sense with it.
No,
That's so
no.
funny. Oh my god. Okay, so this one, a manga, that's just like it's like comic book, like an anime style
Manga
comic
is just
book, right?
literally Japanese for comic book.
Gotcha. Okay,
So
well,
just, if you hear manga, it's a Japanese
I got
comic.
that one.
Mhm.
Cosplay, no. Chibi is one I've seen a lot. To me, is it just like it's like a style where they're like really tiny with big heads?
Well, yes, and also yes, kind of.
Mm.
So chibi, God, I feel like such a weeb knowing all these terminologies, but chibi just means small,
Okay,
which for some reason Japan likes cute things. So
because
like,
they're all small, right?
yeah, but yeah, like there's the chibi art style which you're
Mhm.
talking about, where they take like we'll say LeBron James, and they'll just like most chibi art styles like tiny body but kind of like bobbly looking head.
Okay.
That's what chibi.
Okay. Okay. I've
That's
seen
what
this
chibi.
before.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Gotcha.
Damn it.
Oh, where's that the one I had saved?
Come on, give me a good one. Give me a good one.
It popped up on Reddit a lot, and it was marked NSFW, so I never looked at it because I was worried about it being ecchi, ecchi,
Okay,
ECCHI. Okay, what's
ecchi.
that?
I guess I don't technically know what it means in Japanese, but um, it's I could tell you the genre what it
Okay. Yeah.
means.
Yeah.
The genre means essentially it's light pornography.
Oh God.
So
Okay. Well,
so
that
just
makes
like
sense.
scantily clad women that like nips, or I shouldn't say nip slip, but like just very
Not like
you
straight up porn, but like
no, it's
kind
not
of
straight up.
flirty.
It's all
like-
tease.
Okay.
It's all tease. So
Oh my God.
there's like etchy animes where like there's a single dude and like 5 girls since a harem. That would be considered an etchy series because
Gotcha.
the
Okay.
context of that is probably the girls like
I'm
being
looking it up
in
here.
various states of undress, but you don't
Okay.
see anything.
Japanese slang for playfully sexual. In anime, dirty humor is etchy.
Mm-hmm.
Panty shots, nosebleeds, and perverted character situation are classic qualities. Nosebleeds?
So okay, this is a great thing.
Ah!
It's a great thing you mentioned this. So I think a lot of problems that people have with getting into anime
Mm,
is that there is, since it is from Japan, there's a lot of cultural references that they don't get,
right.
like the nosebleed.
Okay. What's
So
that mean?
nosebleeds in Japan is I don't really know originally why or where it originated from or
Okay.
the real deep context of it, but basically if like someone sees something like perverted, their nose will bleed, like just
Interesting.
yeah, I'm not sure why or where
So I
that
think
came
nosebleeds,
from.
I think of Bioshock Infinite.
Yeah. But yeah, like
Interesting.
if you
okay.
see like kind of a anime character with a nosebleed, like their nose is bleeding, or like just like stubs of like paper in their nose and like there's blood coming
Gotcha.
out, they saw something perverted. It's a
Gotcha.
cultural thing,
Okay.
which is
Interesting.
why I think so many people have trouble getting into the just
Mhm.
the
You
just
still
anime.
understand a lot of it.
Yeah,
Weird.
like you have to be around the block to like kind of get
Gotcha.
pick up on like jokes
Okay.
and just like references and stuff like that.
Okay. Well, that leads me to hentai. That's just porn.
That's just
That's just straight
porn.
anime style porn.
We could tell like there's tentacle.
Well, I'm
hentai,
sure there's all sorts of different
Tent-
subgenres
Oh,
there,
yeah.
but
There's
okay.
let's not dwell into that nasty shit.
No,
Oh.
I'm just making sure that I knew what I'm looking at here. Okay,
Yeah.
nice. So also let's talk about some of the different like popular like anime tropes that
Okay.
kind of exist within the genre. I know you talk about mecha. There's a lot of like robot shit.
Yeah.
That's very big. I see that at least this is what I just like see as what people consider to be anime-ish anime tropes. Like there's usually like I said, like the young kid who like discovers that he has powers, or
Yep,
like discovers
yep.
that he's like royalty or something like that. Like the normal everyday kid who like gets thrust into crazy
Yep.
situations. Would you say there's a lot of like fan service type stuff? Like that's a
Fan
something
service in the means of like sexy stuff.
no, just that they do a lot of things that like to like cater to fans. It's like, oh man, like
Mhm.
the fans like love this character and this character. We're gonna do like a mashup thing that like has them,
okay.
and they're like that sort of thing.
Yeah, so
Mm.
there's a genre called isekai,
Okay.
which I don't know what it translates into, but the genre of isekai is like being transported to a different world.
Hmm.
So the biggest offender of that is Sword Art Online, which I will say that I was a fan when it was coming out.
Mm.
That show is horrible now if you think about it, but that's like from gosh 2012 to like 2015, like that like. And even still today, which is dumb because like that genre is dead. Like there's nothing good coming out of that genre really. That's like all just like pushed to the front, like shoving it down people's throats.
Gotcha. Okay.
So fan service, there's a lot of like sexy fan service in anime, which definitely gives a bad rap to the just in general. Because again, people.
But there's fan service in everything.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? But
yeah. I mean, when you think of like
Mm.
an anime person, you think like guy that lives in basement,
Yeah.
jacks off to like tentacle porn and stuff like that.
Or
And then
I think of like girls with like ginormous breasts. Like
yeah,
that's
exactly.
yeah,
Like,
okay.
and it's like that's Japan's just a perverted country.
Yeah.
It's just I'll be the first to admit it.
All right.
So
That's
like
funny.
that, yeah, just stuff like that gives it a bad rep. Which
Mhm.
I will say, like, I'm definitely not a fan of fan service in that regard. There are some shows that do good fan service. Like, there's a great show called Food Wars. You would love this show.
Food Wars, dope.
It's a show.
Like it already.
It's like technically it's a battle anime, which
Okay.
that's a genre just
like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh.
yeah,
Gotcha.
that's a
Okay.
battle anime.
Mhm.
But it's with food.
What?
So it's
like pizza fights hot dog.
not exactly. It's like it's about a guy that goes to a prestigious cooking school in
Okay.
Japan, and like it's like they have anime like crazy challenges and stuff like that. But on a sidebar note, they draw food so fucking good.
Oh,
like
cool.
it looks delicious.
Nice.
And I know from the manga, they don't do it in the actual show. At the end of each comic book, they'll like show you how to make the recipes.
Oh, that's dope.
So it's really cool. There's getting off a huge tangent. There's another manga. It's about two girls that like, oh, I kind of want to work out, and I just see like this really derpy guy just with like a cute little face, like in like a sweatsuit. Like, hey, do you go to the gym? Yeah, I go to the gym. It's over there. You want to go? Sure. Us girls will go. And then like the next day, the girls will go to the gym. Like, oh, it's the dude. He's still wearing the same sweatsuit. Nice to see you. I just got done with my 5 mile run. All right, well let's start working out. The guy unzips his like sweatsuit and he's just like jacked, but he still has like the derpy little face. It's really fucking funny.
Oh, man.
But after every single manga of that, they show you like exercises on how to work
That's
out.
cool.
Yeah, super. It's
like interactive.
yeah,
That's
it's
awesome.
like they'll do like this is how you deadlift, and then they'll show you like this is the proper way to deadlift and stuff like that.
That's cool.
Anyway,
It's good. People deadlift wrong all the time.
Going off tangent, Food Wars and fan service. I love this show so much because it definitely has a lot of fan service, but it knows it's having fan service
Okay.
and it like steers
like-
into it instead of
right.
like, oh, it's scandalous and stuff like that.
That's
like
funny.
the first episode, the guy cooks he calls it I forget what he calls it, but I've made this recipe, but it's like it's a log of mashed potatoes wrapped in bacon. And basically, when you're cooking it, like the bacon juices soak into the mashed potatoes, so when you're eating it, it just
Bro.
tastes. Believe me, I made it myself. It's so fucking good.
Oh,
And
God.
the lady that's like trying to foreclose on this guy's restaurant, she's like, I bought out your store, but you know what? If you can make a food for me that is really good, I will not buy your restaurant. And the kid makes it, and like. And this is just a trope throughout the show alone, but like whenever someone eats something good, they like just have an orgasm, the clothes just explode from their body, and they just go into like a huge monologue, just like Marshall Erickson from fucking How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
They'll just like go like, oh, it's so succulent.
The hamburger monologue.
Yeah. It's just like people eating great food, clothes exploding off their
That's
bodies.
hilarious.
It's so fucking good.
That's funny. They like lean into the stereotypes.
Yeah, they
of the
lean
good.
way into it. Like
That's really funny.
like even like you see like the guy what he used for the sauce for the food she's like going like that, but like the song's like erupting from her crotch, which is censoring it. But it's so goddamn funny.
That's hilarious.
So there are good fan service stuff.
right.
Most of them I don't like,
Right.
but that's a good example of it done well.
It's really funny. Another thing I found just in my cursory knowledge, there's a lot of animes that like they're in school.
Yeah,
there's a lot of like school stuff going on.
Funny you should mention that. There's a kind of it's meme to hell now.
Okay.
It's a trope of like the main character sits. If you're looking at the classroom, like if you're in the teacher spot looking at the students, there's a stereotype where the main character of your show is to the very back, to the far right, one row above from the very back, so there's a window right next to him, but it's always that spot
really?
that the main character is, like, literally. He's, like, they are always in there.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, a lot of high school shows, which
well, again, obviously you're trying to relate to your main audience.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, which there's another genre called Slice of Life. Have you heard that?
Mm-mm.
So those are interesting shows. Those are pretty hit or miss for me personally. But basically, Slice of Life is a genre where you just get to see the characters just do stuff. Like, just go up, like, not even, like, do crazy, like, fighting robots or getting superpowers. They're, like, just walking along the street. Like, there's a show that Emily Fajardo is voicing for
nice.
part of Funimation. It's called Chio's School Road. And it's basically just about the main character just, like, walking to school, but just weird shit just happens. I guess it's not really a slice of life, but yeah, but anyways, like, slice of life is mainly just like people just doing not extraordinary stuff, but like kind of getting put in weird positions. But yeah, it's a fun genre.
More grounded.
Yeah, very well grounded.
I'm trying to think the other one I'm thinking of, there's usually like a pop star, like a idol like person.
There's a that has transitioned over to anime, but just in general for Japanese culture, think of them like boy bands, but they're girls,
like K-pop, that sort of shit.
Kind of. The like idols in general, they're
it's like a group of like cute girls,
like,
kind of dress scantily, but not really. It's like kind of like we're like kind of sexy, but not really.
They can, but they dress more kawaii.
Right.
Which
huge.
Is the term
we learned that.
But yeah, they wear like cute pink dresses and stuff like that. They sing, they dance. It's a different. It's just a cultural entertainment industry that's not in America.
Right.
It's the best thing that you can relate to is like a boy band, but it's cute girls.
Gotcha.
But yeah, there are
and
like
boys are fans of them, or girls are fans of them, or both.
It's both, but who do you think is mostly?
right.
Yeah. Kind of creepy.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
But yeah, like there's some idol animes out there too. There's like a really popular one that there's a girl that I knew that was like super into that. In fact, they have an entire dance troupe where they dress as like the characters from the anime, which they're all idols, and they have like an entire show.
Oh my god! Wow,
pretty cool. Not my thing, but I mean, if you're gonna put in the work to do this, then props to you.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So to kind of start wrapping up here, why should I, if I'm trying to watch something, we'll just say something that's animated in general. Why should what makes anime different or better than if I wanted to watch like the American? I'm trying to think of what the American equivalent.
Family Guy or something?
Like Family Guy, or like a superhero cartoon show, like the stuff I grew up with. Like, so I feel like I could definitely get into the genre because one, I loved Pokemon as a kid. Was into DBZ. My favorite shows growing up, I loved the Batman animated series and like the 90s like Spider-Man cartoon, the X-Men 90s cartoons. What separates anime from that sort of stuff, and like why should one check out anime over that stuff?
Well, my favorite reason why I just like anime in general is you can do so much more with storytelling if it's animated. Like,
right.
Giant
on a much lower budget, right? Like
essentially, like giant robots. Do that live action.
Yeah,
it's gonna look really crappy. And
Pacific Rim is like the only thing that.
And it's like it's CGI, but like with anime, it's like all drawn and stuff like that. Mostly, and a lot of it does suffer because it is from a different country, it is a different culture.
Yeah.
the main thing why you would want to watch anime over Family Guy or Bad Mouth or
Mm-hmm.
BoJack Horseman
Mm-hmm.
is one, different countries, so they just have a different way of looking at things.
Right.
Two, it's just again different place, so they just have a whole different way of like storytelling. And I think that I guess three is yeah, you have like Bad Mouth and BoJack
Mm-hmm.
Horseman, which is funny.
I feel like most animations are comedies now. At least that I
And that's
see.
thanks to
Yeah.
anime.
Mm-hmm.
That's really
Right.
thanks to anime.
Really.
I'll get to that point in a
Mm-hmm.
second.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, just it just has such a unique way of storytelling that you cannot find anywhere else. Um, because of that, you're allowed to have people with grander story ideas. That I mean, think of like One Piece.
Mm-hmm.
That's like last time I checked, it was like a year ago. They were like on episode 1,600
Yeah.
something.
Damn.
Fucking insane.
Yeah.
Try doing that as a TV show, not
Yeah.
gonna happen.
Yeah.
But it's like such this guy's idea for like a story and stuff like that. There's no other way to capture it. Like animation form is like the best way to do it, and you can just find so many more like deeper deeper storytelling, like more philosophical things. And I'm talking about the ones that actually do this and not
Right.
bouncing
Do,
jiggly boobs and stuff like
gotcha.
that.
Right. Right.
But yeah, there's just more in-depth storytelling that you can come from anime, and just how crazy that the entire movement has been. Just actually how much of a cultural impact it has just in other places around the world.
Really.
Um, the Matrix. I know both of us haven't seen it, right?
No,
Which,
no, I haven't. There's a
sorry.
big gap I should
Yeah,
be
yeah.
in on. Yeah.
There's a famous scene in the first Matrix. You might have. Well, okay, so you've probably seen people in the Matrix like get plugged in for like
Oh yeah,
ports
yeah,
and stuff
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. That's from an anime
Really
originally.
interesting.
Like
I'm
there's
sure.
also
I'm sure Western. We steal all sorts of shit from
oh
them. I'm
sure
sure we
yeah.
steal all sorts of stuff.
Also in the Matrix, there's a scene where like I believe like a guy rips off the top part of a tank.
Mm-hmm.
Same anime. It's
Mm-hmm.
from an anime.
Wow.
That the guy like he saw that and like I'm gonna port this over and put it like they bought the rights to do that
Cool.
Like Matrix,
Mm-hmm.
amazing influential movie
Mm-hmm.
of like 2000 2001. It's from a Japanese
Yeah, that's
anime.
awesome.
Yeah, there's like freaking me and Patrick were talking about this because he saw Cowboy Bebop for the first time.
Right.
Um, we think that Firefly is pretty much just American Cowboy Bebop,
Really?
which is
Huh.
just it's
Cool.
an anime. Like a lot of the character arcs, a lot of things that happen, and even a lot of the shot by shot frames and how things are like framed.
Really? That's interesting.
It's from Cowboy Bebop.
Wow, that's really cool. I didn't know that.
Mm.
I just assumed we stole a bunch of stuff because that's what we do. Am I? I was under the impression that anime is like relatively cheap to make, so you can get like high profit margins because it's not that expensive to make, and if you get like a big audience, they make a lot of money off it. Or am I wrong in that?
I'd probably say that's generally not true.
Okay.
Not true in the fact that if you see something shitty, you know it's shitty. Like they have like
Right.
there's some like AAA animation companies
That's
that
like
go around the
insane,
circle.
yeah.
Like you hear like a new show's coming up and you hear that's like a stamp of approval. Like it's gonna look beautiful. Not necessarily the best story or like whatever have you, but you know it's gonna look goddamn good. And there are some other shows with like companies that you don't hear that are really shitty.
That was my next question. So I know like here in the West, like we base off of like if it's a show or a movie with your favorite actor or director, they're like, oh, I'll probably like this because of this director. Is it the same thing with the directors, or was it like more like you said, it's the production studios? If it's like it's from blah 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 studio, then it'll be good because I've liked like the rest of their stuff. Is it more
It's
like
honestly
that,
a
you think, or
combination of everything.
Okay.
Like good studio backing them is
Mhm.
nice. There's some famous like writers and directors
Right.
that like
Okay.
they're a part of the projects that they're gonna be good. And even like Japanese voice actors, like I don't really follow up with too many Japanese voice actors, which is weird because I love researching that.
Mhm.
But there are a couple names I know that like, oh, this guy's in it. It's gonna be
It's gonna be
good.
solid. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, stuff like
Interesting.
that. And
Really cool.
yeah. There's like just the genre of anime itself. It's not just jiggly boobs and
Right.
giant robots fighting. Like they have some deep stuff. Like there's a one movie that came out last year. It's called A Silent Voice,
Hmm.
and it is a show Like I'm actually gonna like detail like the plot because it's
Okay.
actually really interesting.
Sweet.
I haven't seen it. I'm looking to buy it on my next convention, but you have this boy who's super popular, kind of like he's a shithead boy. He's like in elementary school. There, one day there's a deaf girl comes in and moves into his town and is in his classroom. So he's kind of like the most popular kid in the school, and he's a shithead. So he's like he's bullying her
Okay.
just because she's deaf and just that's kids are shitheads. There's one day where he takes it too far, and it causes the deaf girl to like move away just because she's so embarrassed and been bullied. And yeah, one day he takes it too far, and all the other kids that like saw him as popular, like, oh, I'm not with him.
Fuck this
guy.
Yeah.
So for the rest of his life, he becomes the outcast, and people don't like him.
Ew.
So fast forward to when he's in high school, which in Japanese cultures you have to like apply to schools like college, which is kind of weird.
Right.
But he goes to high school, and he's still like he's just like an outcast. He keeps his head down, and he just doesn't talk to everyone. People are like laughing at him as he's walking in the hallways because he's just a crappy person and he's learned his lesson and stuff like that. He goes to a high school, and the girl that he picked on, who is deaf, is attending the same school as him.
Okay.
So he wants to redeem himself because his life got turned upside down. So he actually learned sign language to like communicate with her and say, "I'm sorry for treating you so horribly." I believe it's essentially a romance anime, but
cool.
Like that's just a story you don't really see very much, even in Western, just anywhere.
That's really cool.
I know for the English voicing for that, the girl that voiced the deaf girl, she's actually deaf.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah, so you get like amazing stories like that where it's just like anime just fills so many niches and genres that you just don't see everywhere else in the world. And
there's like people even like in the West that have caught on and have like won awards like what's his butt name of the wind the movie with the plane.
Oh, The Wind Rises.
Studio
Ghibli.
Ghibli. God, yeah.
Well, they are Japanese.
Yeah, they are Japanese, but like they won a bunch of like awards. And they've become like almost mainstream popular. Like people have seen Ghibli stuff and like know Ghibli stuff.
Yeah, I'd say Ghibli not yet a household name. It should be. But it's definitely like.
And those are like really grounded stories, right? Like most of them.
I wouldn't say. I'd say grounded in the means of like they're like all Ghibli movies are really like they're for children, but anyone can appreciate them because they're so really good. I'd say they're grounded because like they're so relatable, but they go off and do fantastic things. But yeah, like Spirit or The Wind Rises like won all those awards and accolades. And even for like just to show you like how good like Ghibli is and how like popular this company is, like got Joseph Gordon-Levitt voicing the main character. In two really early Ghibli movies, Mark Hamill was the voice of a couple characters. So like
I've heard stuff with like big time directors and stuff.
Yeah,
and I hear that like are big fans and like really follow that stuff. So yeah, it's cool that it's caught on. I really like your point of using it to like understand and study like a different culture, like by watching their media. I think that's really interesting. To wrap up here, here's what we're gonna do. Nick is gonna recommend an anime to me, and I'm gonna watch it.
Oh shit!
Yep.
Okay.
And we're gonna come back on another pod, and I'm gonna talk about like what I thought about it and everything. So I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot here.
No, I
know exactly.
I've wanted this to happen for so goddamn long.
You know which one you want to pick for me.
I do.
And to make sure I can watch it, is it on a streaming service or do you have it on disc or something?
Shit,
that's the thing you got to worry about.
Yeah,
it has to be
licensing for anime is kind of a headache a little bit at times.
I'm sure.
You know what? If I can't find it, might be on Hulu or Funimation, but if it's not easily obtainable for you to watch, I will personally buy you a subscription, or I will buy the DVD so you can watch.
All right, nice.
I'm doing this because 1, I'm your friend. 2, I've wanted this to happen for so goddamn long. I'm so happy.
All right, cool. I'm ready. Let's do this.
So this anime is something that you'll see like YouTube videos like or just other things just like top 10 animes to watch if you're getting into it, that kind of bullshit and stuff like that. I've yet to see anybody recommend this show to newcomers. I think it's a great one.
Good entry.
I recommend it.
You don't have to have like a crazy anime knowledge to like understand it. And
for that reason, it's well grounded. It takes place in our world.
Okay.
There's some like fantastical anime elements to it, but it's a good story and it's just grounded.
Okay.
The show is called fuck, what is that show called?
You've been so excited.
I know.
Now you can't remember the fucking name
Ben's
of
like,
it.
I'm done.
I'm ready. I can't remember the name of it. Then Jesus Christ.
It is. Oh shit! All right, I'll pause the episode when I do this.
Okay.
But I gotta look this shit up.
All right.
God damn.
I've heard a lot about Cowboy Bebop, and if you say it's like Firefly, I might be checking that out because I love Firefly.
You should definitely watch Cowboy.
Okay.
Like,
do you know? Is that on anything?
That's on Hulu.
Okay.
I do have the complete show on Blu-ray.
Okay.
It's only 24 episodes.
Okay.
Really easy to watch.
Well, the confusing thing about anime is there's like different runs of like similar shows. It's like, this is like Full Metal Alchemist, the main series, and it's like Full Metal Alchemist, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, well, shit, which one's which? And it's like kind of
some stipulations, like so. For that example, Full Metal Alchemist, the anime, it follows the manga, the comic.
Gotcha.
But at one point, they caught up with the comics. Like, shit, what do we do? So they kind of like made their own thing.
Gotcha.
And then Brotherhood is the exact same thing, but it follows the show.
Gotcha.
That happens every now and then for anime. God damn. But yes, Cowboy Bebop. But think about that show is one, it defined a genre. Two, it turned a lot of people onto anime and just people that were already into anime, they just said like, they watched them like, wow, anime could be art. It could be thoughtful and stuff like that. It's still to this day, I see people writing college essays about like the philosophy of that show.
Cool.
It's just that deep, and it's just a good show. It's basically Firefly, the anime kind of.
Nice.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I'll check that one out for sure, because I love Firefly.
So the thing about buying anime, a lot of it's like pirated and stuff, and that's not no good. But that's kind of went on a side tangent there. But I don't really see too much of a difference when I see Blu-ray movies. Blu-ray anime it looks
really way
gorgeous.
Better.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, sorry to blast your brain here, but
you're good.
Bebop, Cowboy Bebop, it's 24 episodes long, might be 26. But there's a point in the story near the end where they actually have a movie. It's it's canon, but you don't have to watch it to like understand anything. But just letting you know that.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. So I'm ready for that. Kind of like how Firefly did.
Yeah,
actually, with Serenity. That's interesting. Oh crap! I had another really good question for you. Okay, so watching it, can you explain the difference between like dubbed and subtitles and all that?
Ooh,
for
that's
everybody?
another.
I think that's an important thing. I think. Right?
Yeah. So, dub versus sub. A lot of people say subtitles all the way.
So subtitles, it's the original Japanese voice acting thing, but you're just reading the text.
But you're reading the text, which that's another reason why people is off-putting because people
they don't want to read.
Yeah. So I'm kind of in a weird spot because I do believe generally I would say I do believe that watching subs is the best way, mostly because Japan just like has schools for voice acting specifically, and dubbing may not always get the same effect because like again cultural differences. Some jokes people will just be able to hit the beats. It won't
make any sense like if it's in English.
Yeah, like they'll have to change the script to do that, and that's going even deeper down the rabbit hole. And then like there's dubbing where they have to like change the way, like specifically the way they speak because sometimes when like it's called mouth flats and the character talks. For English speaking, it'll be different, so they have to rechange it. Weird and also, there's the issue of translation.
Yeah, things get lost. I'm sure
things get lost in translation.
Don't make sense.
Just the language of Japan is Japanese language is very inferral. Is the best way I could put it. Whereas English, I'd say it's like more direct.
Right.
So a lot of things can get lost in translation. So I would say subtitles mostly over dub. Subtitles if you like.
You want the pure experience.
Yeah, if you want the pure experience.
I watched a lot of stuff with subtitles when I can't understand what people are saying, so that's nothing new to me. So I'll probably just do that.
They're like the stipulation is like always subtitles over dub. There being someone that wants to do voice acting, I can't help but say watch dub too.
Mhm.
There's some good dubs and there's some bad dubs.
Yeah, I'm
but,
sure there's variations of.
But honestly, they say that whatever language you watch of a show first, like if you watch a show in Japanese and you come back into it in English, whatever one you watch it first,
You won't be able to go back.
Yeah,
you won't be like, oh, this is weird. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Okay.
So yeah, but for Bebop is it's different because that is universally recognized as it is better in English. Even the directors.
Really interesting.
That's why that's why the show is so great. Even the director is like, yeah, I like the English voice is better than my own native language.
Cool.
So that's a great one to watch.
Okay.
It's killing me.
Right, I can't find it. So if we can get a hold of this other one that Nick can't even remember the name of right now, we'll do that. But if not, it looks like I have Hulu, so we can do this with Cowboy Bebop too. So we'll see.
I mean, I have it on Blu-ray, so if you want to watch it in like the crispy shit, crispy cream,
that good shit. Okay.
Okay, it's called dope. Eden of the East.
Eden of the East.
You'd like it too because there's a little bit of politics in it.
Ooh, good.
Too.
I like it.
There's a little bit of politics, but mostly it's like the main politics of it is like politics of the people, which is kind of interesting. It's a little bit more political for like garnered towards Japanese audience, but it's still just an interesting take on just society as a general. But yeah, like I said before, that is a great show. I don't know why people don't suggest that, but it's a great show because it's grounded. It makes sense with the world. With like, it's in our world. It's nothing too crazy. You want me to tell you a little bit about it, or
if I'm reading it correctly, I think it's on Hulu. If I'm reading this correctly, cool. So perfect.
So basically, I won't say too much. Basically, there's 12 people that they wake up and they have like a cell phone, and on the cell phone, I forget the exact amount, but it's like 12 billion yen, which equates to like $10 million or something like that at the time. And they're tasked with like on the phone they have like a secretary that they can call whenever, and you could tell the secretary like whatever you want and it will happen. Like as a joke, the main character is like, why don't you just make the Prime Minister of Japan say uncle? And then the secretary's like, please turn on to this channel. He turns it on, and then you see like a political meeting in Japan, and then you just see like a guy run up to the Prime Minister, whisper something in the ear, run off. The Prime Minister walks up to the mic and says, "Uncle." But
that's nuts.
He can do whatever he wants.
Wow.
If he talks to this lady, it costs money though.
Interesting.
The caveat is, if you run out of money, there's one of the other 12 members. They kill you.
Whoa.
So the main project of the idea is like
just like some real like morality, like philosophic shit going on here.
It is like the premise of this project in the show is like whoever gave these cell phones to these people, he doesn't like the way that Japan is going politically, socially, economically. So he's tasked with, he just gave 12 random phones to people, and the only message is like, make our country good again.
Wow. Interesting.
And yeah, so there's like one person.
Right. You've sold me, man. I'm in. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's. I don't know why people don't talk more about the show because it's really good. But
that's cool.
Yeah,
I'm in on that. Eden of the East.
It's only like 10 or 12 episodes, so it's not long. There are 2 movies that follow up.
How long are is there like a standard time for anime episodes? 20 Most animes are 20-30 instead of I always feel like 40. Those like longer ones more of a West thing. Like 40 to 40 minute long TV show.
You don't really see that for Japanese 20, animation.
That's good. I like that. It's quicker. I can watch a couple. And then...
I mean, like, what? Now you've opened this door. Now you're gonna get involved with the like watch an episode, crazy cliffhanger. Gotta watch the next episode.
Yeah.
That's like a staple.
That's an anime thing. Okay, sweet. Well, that's awesome. We will report back on that, so guys. Excited. Yeah, I'm pumped. This is gonna be really fun. I'll do a little review and we'll talk about it. That'll be a really fun episode. Now I feel like I want to do this has been really fun. I love learning new stuff and something you're an expert on. I think our next challenge that we'll think about, and if anyone else has any suggestions for us, I want to reverse this, and I will teach you about something.
Sure.
I don't know what I know that you don't know, but we'll figure something out. But this is a really cool dynamic, and I want to bring guests on and do this as well.
Oh, absolutely.
It sounds like you did it with Chris, and it went really well.
Yeah, I learned a lot.
It was a very similar thing. I think it's a really cool idea. You learn stuff, and it allows someone to share their expertise, which is really cool because learning is great.
Yeah.
It's good for you.
Knowledge is power.
That's right. Knowledge is power. Take a look. It's in a book.
It's reading Rainbow.
That's right. Damn right it is. Well, guys, that has been our anime episode. And have a great weekend. Don't be a weeb, as they say. Freaking weebs.
Fucking
No
weebs.
weebs, and make sure you're using your incognito browsers for your hentai.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, now that you
yeah.
looked up anime terms, like your search history.
I know I'm in
fucked.
trouble. I should have incognitoed that. Oopsie. Well, I'll go. Well, while I clear my search history, we'll say goodbye to you guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye bye. So goddamn happy.
I was gonna pull it up, but my Hulu account is my old roommate's, and it's only on my PS4.